Hi there everyone, Lars here with another D&D discussion, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And in this video, I want to talk about using OP characters, overpowered characters, in Dungeons & Dragons, and how we can use those experiences to better our own writing. So, let me just already address something right here. Yes, it is highly taboo in any D&D campaign, whether you are the dungeon master or one of the players, to use an OP character. There's a very good reason for this. Dungeons & Dragons is collaborative storytelling. It is so very easy for an OP character to derail everything. Whether it be that your character as the player just suddenly becomes super OP, or you wrote him or her as totally OP, it makes the other characters basically become insignificant, useless. Why are they even there if you can do everything? And if you're the dungeon master and you introduce an OP character, well, if they're a good guy, then really, why aren't they then going on this quest to do all this good stuff? What kind of contribution can the players even bring to the table? Or if it's a villain, then it's like, holy cow, like what do we have to do to beat this person? It can be extremely frustrating for everyone at the table to deal with an OP character. This is one of the reasons why it's taboo to use one. However, I personally believe that if done well, you can bring in an OP character to enhance a campaign and to also learn for yourself as a writer whether or not this OP individual is actually worth using. So let me briefly explain. In my first campaign as a dungeon master, I had a number of OP characters. There was one in particular that I introduced into the story because he was someone that I intended to actually write for a book. And I thought, you know what? Let's see how well he's received. I want to see how people react to this character, to his personality, his power sets, and everything like that. This is just going to kind of be a fun experiment. So I threw him on in. And it immediately was a massive flop. As the dungeon master, it was fun to play this character, but it was just like, why? Why do we have this character in here? He's obviously so powerful that he can do all of these things by himself. And sure, he says, well, I've got other things I got to do. There's these other villains I've got to fight. See ya. It's like, wait a second. Oh, why? It's very clear that you can handle all of this on your own. And the players are like, why are we going then on these separate quests? It took them a while to get back into the story and to enjoy what was going on and to feel like they actually mattered, like they made a difference. And so I quickly figured out, okay, he's in the story. I got to use him super sparingly because, yeah, he's too much of a distraction. He's too much of a problem. And that helped me out a lot because, as I said, I intended to write this character. Indeed, I have written this character. If you read my book, Knights of Hallicrues, you will meet him in that book. However, just like in the D&D campaign, I use him extremely sparingly. And that's because I found out while this character is a whole lot of fun, he does not serve well as a main character in a story where there's obviously a whole cast of other main characters who need to have their time in the sun. Otherwise, he's just way too distracting. So if he's going to be in a story that isn't about him, he has to kind of be a background character and just off doing his own little thing, pops in here and there and whatnot, and then he becomes totally fine. As a result, by relocating him more to a supporting background character, my writing group has said, yeah, it's actually fun having him in some of these scenes because he brings something to them, but he doesn't overshadow everyone else. And that's something I would have only have learned early on enough by playing him out in D&D. So this is why I say it's actually okay to use an OP character in D&D if, and here's the big if you make it clear to the other people at the table what it is that you're trying to do. So as a writer, whether you be the dungeon master or a player, you can say, hey, look, I have this character. Yes, I know, he or she is kind of OP right here, or very definitely OP. I want to experiment really quickly here in this like one shot or very short campaign, what it would be like for them to be there. And please give me your honest feedback about what you think. And then you can then see what happens. Do the other players at the table get along with this character? Or does this character just totally outshine them and make them obsolete? Is this a character who has a good backstory that makes them engaging? Do they have a good personality? Do they have a useful skill set? All of these different things right here, things that can make them useful within a story rather than just simply, I am here to break all the rules and make stuff happen because the plot demands it, or I'm just so awesome because the creator just loves me and so therefore I'm amazing. Ha! Now I get it here because already I know there's some people who are thinking, Lars, OP characters really aren't that great. I don't know why you keep bringing them up. Well, think about it right here. There are actually a lot of really fantastic, overpowered characters throughout works of fiction. And they work because of the situations that they've been put in. A really fantastic villain is Maldor, the evil emperor from Beyonders. He is incredibly OP. There's a reason why he has defeated every hero on this other world, and why it takes people from another world to defeat him. Because he's so OP, he's so confident, he thinks he knows everything, so when you bring in an outsider, he's unprepared. Another story with two great OP characters is Bleach. In it, you find the villain, Sosuke Aizen, and the hero, Ichigo Kurosaki. Sosuke Aizen is so OP. He has the OP intellect, he has the OP power, he has the OP strength, and as a result of all these things, he desires to become a god, or become normal, because it has to be one way or the other. He is just so OP that he realizes, I'm just too good for this story, dang it, so I better become a god, or I should just become a regular Soul Reaper. And of course, his pride draws him more towards becoming a god, which is a really neat thing to see play out in the final battle between him and Ichigo. Meanwhile, you have Ichigo as a character who has these phenomenal powers. He's able to grow at an incredible rate, and on top of that, basically, it's kind of low-key implied that his ultimate power, that Ichigo's ultimate power, is that he will always be able to empower himself to overcome any obstacle that he is confronted with, which makes a really great sword versus shield or spear versus shield scenario when he and Aizen clash. And that is a whole lot of fun to read. It's a whole lot of fun to watch. It's great to see Ichigo rise up to become the hero necessary to take down the OP villain of Sosuke Aizen. It's an incredible journey, and there's a reason why this OP villain, like Aizen, has remained so relevant and so well-liked in the fanbase, and why Ichigo has also remained such a well-liked hero, despite the fact that he is so incredibly OP. It's because of their characters, or to say their personalities, and because of the journeys that we get to see them go through. There's also other great examples of OP characters, like Saitama from One Punch Man, a character who is so OP that he becomes depressed because he's got all this power. There is no more struggle in life, and without struggle, without anything to challenge him, there's no reason for him to actually be happy. When you don't have that struggle to help define you as a person, well, what is there then to live for? And so we get to see his journey to find the things that are worth living for so he can again find his happiness. So yeah, I find a lot of value in OP characters. I find myself when I'm doing my own writing asking myself, well, what if you had the super OP character, but he can't ask the girl out that he really likes? Or you have this very OP character who sucks at cooking, and they want to be able to cook, and dang it, this one thing just trips them up. And I know that might sound extremely trivial right there, but that helps give them a certain kind of funny personality, because what if they really, really want to try to cook, and despite their best efforts, I mean, these people can like smash a mountain, but they can't break an egg without making a mess, and it just drives them up the wall. These are just fun little things that you can do to like give an OP character some interesting challenges and personality. So once again, these are things that you can test play in Dungeons and Dragons. It does require some communication. You need to talk with the other people at the table and let them know. If you're the Dungeon Master, hey, I'm going to be introducing some characters to you guys in this one-shot or in this short campaign. They are going to be extremely powerful. I want you guys to tell me what you think about confronting them, what it's like to interact with them. Do they work? And if it's too much, let me know, and then I can revise them. If you are a player and you wish to test drive an OP character, you need to let the Dungeon Master know that that's your intentions and see what they think and see what the other players at the table think as well, because they need to be able to truly interact with this character, have challenges prepared that allow the OP character to struggle and not overwhelm the rest of the party at the same time. Because again, this is a shared storytelling experience, and you want to make sure that everyone can enjoy themselves. And an OP character usually derails that, but if done well, the OP character can become a fantastic addition to the party or to the story if they have good character, if they have their own character arc, if they have struggles that have to be overcome, if they have quirks that make them memorable, that can make them stand out in a way other than what their power makes of them, and all these other things. This is your chance to make an OP character a person and not just a force to be reckoned with. That's, I think, really what you want. And again, a really great thing about trying out an OP character in a D&D setting is that you are able to receive feedback from everyone else at the table. If you find that your OP character is just universally hated, then you gotta return to the drawing board. If it turns out that everyone really loves this OP character because you built him or her just right, and they have got a great personality, great story, they interact well with everyone else, then you have a winner. Or if you get a mixed bag of reviews, then take it really into consideration. What works, what doesn't, and start going from there to craft your ideal OP character that would work well within any story. So yeah, that would be my advice right there. Once again, I fully acknowledge that this is highly taboo, but I think it's still something that you can have a ton of fun with. Because yeah, once again, I understand not everyone likes to have OP characters. There's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to using them. Either people abuse the OP character by using them way too much, making them a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu, or people just outright hate them because they just don't like the idea of someone with so much incredible power. But we have seen instances in D&D where an OP character has been done very, very well, like Artigan the Traveler from Critical Role Season 2. That character goes through some phenomenal growth, and he is OP. Sure, there's other characters out there who are more powerful than him, but given what he knows, what he can do, his influence, he is truly an overpowered individual, and yet his character arc is so personable. He's so funny. He interacts well with everyone by the end. It's really a lot of fun to see. So don't toss the idea out. Go try it out. And if you're a writer who wants to write an OP character, then take this advice to heart. Do it so that way you can figure out what would work, what wouldn't, and trust me, it will help you out a lot, because as someone who loves writing overpowered characters and just having a whole lot of fun with them, you do need to do some play testing to find out what works and what doesn't, and not just simply slap it on the page and call it a good day, because they won't always jive with everyone. You need to do some experimenting, and D&D can be the perfect place to conduct your experiments. So, with all that being said, thank you for listening to my ramblings right here about Dungeons & Dragons, and if you have never played Dungeons & Dragons before and you've listened all the way through to the end of this video, well, congratulations, you should go out and play D&D, find some people, experience it a little bit. It is a ton of fun. And if you're interested in some more writing advice, please go check out our podcast, Camille's Harem, found on Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, the works. We also have way more videos here on our YouTube channel, so lots of goodies there. We also have writing exercises over at our Pinterest page that you can check out, and you can join our community over at our subreddit and our Discord. Links for all those sites and more are in the description, and thank you so much for joining us on this adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.